Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, the wise guy. And today is December 20th, 2024. And as you can notice, there is quite a bit of a different change here in the setting, and that's because I have moved into the room that I will be soon, once it's all ready to go. It's still kind of a work in progress. I will be recording and working from. Also, it's far too cold in the garage today. While many thought that outside of Trump's rectum, the Republicans thought they could pull their heads together, and lo, much to my complete lack of disbelief, they completely torpedoed their own bill that would have replaced the bipartisan deal that was already laid out. So, if you enjoy news, history, and Americana, make sure to hit those like and sub buttons. It would go a really long way to get our message to those who would really benefit from hearing of it. Plus, I'd be much obliged. MAGA voters, Trump supporters, take none of this personally. I'm trying to speak to you one-on-one. Throughout the week, it had come to light that a continuing resolution to keep the government functioning was finally ready for a vote. But due to last-minute demand by two billionaires who weren't elected, Donald Trump convinced the Speaker of the House to rid us of the deal that would have kept us from having to go through all of this mess. Of course, it does suck that we have been kicking this continuing resolution can down the long road that is the 118th Congress. The Republicans have actually spent the entirety of their leadership throughout this time leaning on Democrats to save them from legislative disasters, and then blaming them for having not fully gotten their goals accomplished. Again, Republicans in Congress have not been able to get their collective shit together since before giving Kevin McCarthy the boot. This time, however, the incoming members of DOGE, the Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, couldn't wrap their heads around why they couldn't be taking money that we should be giving to kids with cancer and instead line their own coffers with the tax cuts that they plan on implementing for themselves, not for you. So they convinced the incoming president to publicly go against it. And in so doing, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, bent the knee and threw out the already agreed to bipartisan legislation and put together a bill that was a fraction of the size of the CR that was already negotiated upon. Again, just because it's more convenient to do something doesn't make it better. It's the same reason you don't regularly eat gas station sushi. It went from 1,500 pages to about 150 pages. This was also at Trump's demand and raised the debt ceiling, which wasn't even a part of the legislation to begin with, proving that Trump and his supporters in Congress have no idea the most basic function of Congress. And then they voted on it. And Republicans saw this Republican CR and said, hell no, and voted against it. And not even just a few lawmakers here. The bill failed with 38 Republicans voting against it. Where does that leave us? Admittedly, in a precarious position, but I can't really imagine this not becoming a normal set of circumstances. Mike Johnson and Congress now need to find a way to appeal to Donald Trump and the 38 House Republicans who voted against it by midnight tonight. Color me skeptical when it comes to their ability or even appetite to do this. On top of that, there are now threats to Mike Johnson's leadership as well, so enjoy this. At this point, there is no way forward in funding the government. And at midnight tonight, unless they go back on everything that they have just put us through, it will cease to function. MAGA, Trump supporters who just didn't pay attention because there were no other important matters going on, like Taylor Swift and people living their lives never having once impacted your own. Drink it in. You didn't want boring. You wanted a professional wrestling event, and that's exactly where we are. It's what you're going to get. If there's one thing that can gather from any of this thus far, it's that this is a preview of the next 2 years, respectively. I'm sure you all had, good reasons for this. This is what you paid for, though. Not only were you warned not to, some of you put on a red hat and a diaper and stuck your middle finger in the air. You sold us all out for these buffoons and the people that said that they wanted a regular Joe they could drink a beer with, somebody who understood the working man, not a coastal elite. And then went out and voted for a liberal coastal elite who was filling his cabinet with some of the wealthiest Americans who, to be completely honest, wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. And it's just as well, too, because you wouldn't want to hang out with these people. There are no friends in these kinds of spaces. There are only shallow predators who only keep a keen eye out, for the weaknesses that they can exploit, even amongst each other. They didn't get to where they are by being nice. And you can't go share a platter of wings with them at B-dubs if that's what you thought, because they're not going to have anything with you to converse about. These people are the epitome of elites. They don't like you. And as much as I have to shit on Joe Scarborough for his going to Mar-a-Lago, let's turn this around. Trump is bumping elbows with, quote, the liberal media. What's that about? I mean, he tried to make Joe and Mika out to be some kind of, what did he call them? Enemy of the state. If they're the enemy of the state, why are you cool with him letting them just come and chill at his golf course? But he hasn't once really held an event for grassroots donors like you. It's been almost 10 years. You think he would have shown more appreciation to you and his voters than liberal media dolls? Seems pretty disrespectful if you ask me. But again, it doesn't seem like many of those who support Trump really give a damn about whether people actually disrespect them. I mean, let's face it. As long as they can hold on to their right to disrespect other people, it's cyclical. By the way, why have we seen more about these billionaires and what they want to do, but we haven't seen anything about, J.D. Vance and all of his plans to help the common man, the common Joe? Hillbilly Elegy author doesn't seem to have anything to say about all the workers in Virginia and Appalachia who are about to get sent home right before the holidays. Haven't seen that guy in weeks. Where the hell is J.D. Vance? Why is Elon Musk closer to Trump's ear than his own incoming vice president? Look, I can't tell y'all that you've been duped because you'll never believe me anyways. Nobody can fool you. But what I can do is remind you what it is you asked for and what it is you expected, and that you are receiving the opposite of your requests. And if that doesn't piss you off, if that doesn't make you feel like they played you and your family, if that doesn't feel like someone straight up walked into your home and slapped you across the face in front of your kids, I don't know what I can say. You're happy to let it happen. I think there's a word recently that's been thrown around a lot that actually describes this exact kind of behavior. What was it again? Oh yeah, cuck. Look, I don't want to be insulting, but that's what these people are treating you like. And you're letting it happen. Gladly. And when it comes to this government shutdown that was caused by the unelected billionaires, oligarchy, I have a hard time believing that it's going to last long. The inauguration's coming up in January, and the last thing Trump is going to want is a small crowd or even no crowd at all due to the lack of functioning security apparatus. It requires the grounds in D.C. known as the Mall, which will be closed if there's a government shutdown. If you want to be a part of it, you're not going to be allowed. If you want a historic picture, it'll be a completely empty Washington, D.C., or worse, The utter chaos of people refusing to adhere to laws and forcing their ways onto the grounds to see the new incoming Cheeto. Again, this entire time, Congress and government leaders will all still get their paychecks. So they're going to be fine. It's you. It's the proletariat who will be the ones to suffer. Which, I mean, in a roundabout way, should be a solid way to prepare for the tax consequences that will also come from your support of the billionaire elites taking the helm of our entire government. The optics of this becoming detrimental to anything Trump will want to accomplish, it's going to get loud. His administration will be ushered by its own chaotic freefall. Just remember why you voted for him and who you need to aim your perfectly validated ire towards. The Democrats haven't even done anything to you. You wouldn't even give them the benefit of the doubt to try and keep their promises. So don't go blaming anybody else for this. This is all 100% conservative and Republican driven. Democrats have zero power here. And if they won't, let me be the first to say that I am sorry that they pulled the rug out from underneath you. I agree, you shouldn't be treated this way. If you were sold a bill of goods, you should demand those promises be kept by the leaders who made them. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to let wedge issue wars with people who have no power or influence in your life drive your fate. Like yelling at a brick wall for getting in your way. Again, you've been manipulated, you've been exploited, and you've been lied to by the Republican Party, who does nothing for you and pays fealty to people who just want to make your life objectively worse. So if you want to break away from this weird spell, subscribe. Like the channel. I'm here to show you that we are in this together as people, as Americans, as humans. Political parties be damned. And the only way that we do this is by staying informed, staying engaged, and staying decent. So please, don't be a stranger. Y'all come back now. You hear?